Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live money news up here at this hour in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okansi.
I'm Natalie Fort. Let's take a look at the top stories this evening.
Meralco Consortium wins bid for the management, operation and investment in Electricity Company of Ghana.
Lawyers of former Director General of Social Security and National Insurance Trust accuse current management of using the media to prosecute their client.
And Supreme Court has dismissed application by former Deputy Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine to file additional arguments to the case in which he is challenging the eligibility of Martin Amido for the position of Special Prosecutor.
Also ahead this evening, Director of Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo, casts doubts over government's commitment to election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives.
Also in the bulletin this evening, we throw a searchlight on occupational safety and health concerns in Ghana.
Ahead in business tonight, energy think tank Kite Ghana demands forensic audits into all projects funded with oil revenue.
And on international front, Miguel Diaz-Canel elected president of Cuba. We bring you details of these stories, including sports and entertainment tonight here on News 360. Feel free to share your thoughts on the issues we're going to be talking about tonight. But our first story this evening, immediate past Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, Ernest Thompson, says he is unaware of any investigations or audits conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers, as he was not invited by anybody for that purpose. This was made known in a statement issued by his lawyers.
According to the former Director General of SNIT, the only body he has appeared before as regards investigations into the $72 million SNIT OBS software is the Economic and Organized Crime Office (YOCO), with his last appearance in October 2017. He has therefore imputed mischief to Wednesday's news conference, which he described as needless. A statement issued by Baku and Pim Chambers, solicitors for the SNIT former boss, explains that Ernest Thompson adopted a dignified silence as his response in the investigations by YOCO on their advice, adding, "It is obvious and crystal clear that the SNIT management has decided to do politics and in the process has adopted as its own weapons persecution and victimization of their client and ignored the truth, evidence and facts surrounding this OBS project." The solicitors explained that as regards the escalation of the OBS contract figure from $34 million to $72 million, the original scoping only made provision for 400,000 cards when SNIT had a contributor population of 3 million. Ernest Thompson, according to his solicitors, has taken exception to the usage of arrest at the news conference.
Well, so the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Gloria Kofo, has actually stated that her office has not officially charged any of these persons that the PricewaterhouseCoopers or EOCO probe into the SNIT issues has named as being culpable for a financial loss to the state. I've been joined on the telephone by lawyer Abednego Tetemensa. He is a lawyer for the former Director General of SNIT, Ernest Thompson. Lawyer Abednego, thank you for your time this evening. Let me just establish, did EOCO arrest or charge your client at any point during their investigations into this case?
As far as I'm aware, nothing of that sort has happened. We went through the normal police procedure at Yoko, where after each interrogation on specific issues, we wrote our statement, sometimes ordinary statement, caution statement, and that is what we went through.
I see.
That is what we went through, yes.
Oh, okay. So yesterday...
But there has been no question of arrest.
Right. Okay. So yesterday there was a press conference that was addressed by SNIT, the Director General, the Company Secretary, and the Board Chairman. They released a summarized version of the PricewaterhouseCoopers report on this whole SNIT OBS saga. Do you have a copy of that report? And then have you seen it before I get into the details of it?
No, we have just gotten a copy. And as a lawyer, I will not say I have a copy because it will not be from the right source. I don't know where it was coming from. But the most important issue is that we were never consulted, we were not contacted to give an input. The normal thing is that you make an input and then the auditors will go and then in their preliminary or interim report, they will bring it back to you, then you make your comment, then it go before the final report.
So there's no...
We were
I see.
never
So
aware of
your
anything
client,
until yesterday.
I see. Your client was not invited or engaged by Pricewaterhouse at any point during this investigation?
We didn't even know there was an audit. It's as simple as that. We didn't know.
I see.
We got to know of this, we heard of this thing only yesterday at the press conference.
Interesting. So there's an aspect of your report or your response to SNIT's press conference yesterday, which captured in your 6-page response I want to read. You say that the usual mantra of the management led by the Director General has been spurious allegations intended to deceive the public that the original contract price of 34 million escalated to 72 million without explaining how or what brought about the price escalation, which should actually be the crux of the matter. So I want to find out from you, has your client, as a former Deputy Director General, did he sign off any of these contracts that led to the escalation or the increase in this particular figure of 74 million we're talking about?
It was not an issue of signing off any contract. You see, contract price escalation per se is not a crime. And we gave reasons why it went up. The contract itself that he came to meet made room for a price variation, made room for change orders. And therefore, whatever he did was done working within the contractual documents. And what we are saying is that, for instance, we gave only 2 examples that could have led to the price escalation. The scope is which led to the $34 million initially.
Right.
Made room for 400 cards. You know, the biometric cards that we use to access information in the kiosks.
Absolutely.
The ATM, yes. Meanwhile, SNIT has 3 million plus contributors. So, if you provide only 400,000, what about the 2.6 million plus? Would they come to your office and say,
is that the explanation of your client as to what brought about the price escalation we're talking about?
Yes, I gave just 2 examples of what led to the price escalation. Naturally, if you are buying more cars, 2 million plus, automatically the price will go up. The price of the contract sum will go up.
And this particular decision to have an increase was signed off by the board after you did your own assessment that this was a prudent decision to take?
It was not even a question of prudence. It was a question of necessity. We have 3 million plus contributors. And they are all expected to have the cards, the biometric cards to access information. So if in the contract scoping you have only 400, are you saying you will provide for the 400 and leave out the 2.6 million extra? So what we are saying is that price escalation per se is not criminal. He was the Director General and he has to take those decisions to move the organization forward. For instance, another Director General will say, okay, in the contract we have only 400,000 cards. have provided for the 400,000 cards.
Right.
So on daily basis, there 2.6 million. When they come parading at your office, they want cards. What will you do?
Okay, Lawyer, thank you.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for your time. Unfortunately, that's our time would allow us, but I'm grateful. Lawyer Abednego Tetemensa, he's a lawyer for former Director General of SNET, Ernest Thompson. But some news just coming through. The Meralco Consortium has been designated as the preferred bidder in the management of operation and investment in the electricity distribution business of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Now, the Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, in a statement noted that after international competitive procurement process and evaluation of proposals received, Manila Electricity Company, that's Meralco, was determined to have the highest combined technical and financial score. Negotiations, according to MIDA, will soon commence to finalize all the agreements related to the implementation of the ECG PSP transaction. So MIDA wishes to assure Ghanaians that it will continue to adhere to and uphold high standards of integrity and transparency throughout the process. Okay, so let's go on to the telephone now. Michael Idumata is the General Secretary of the Public Utilities Workers Union. Mr. Idumata, thank you for your time. Good evening to you. Is it any cause for excitement for the selection of Meralco Consortium, or you have concerns?
Oh, well, we don't have any cause of excitement or otherwise. For us, we have always maintained the fact that it's very unfortunate Ghana is going this direction, but that is the decision of the shareholder of the company. But with this announcement of the selection of Meralco as the preferred bidder, the only thing that we will expect that MIDA should come out clearly and let the Ghanaian populace be really aware about the whole process. So far, they have been a little not very transparent. Let me put it bluntly.
Okay, so but Mr. Numata, I want to find out from you, if you say MIDA should come out with the whole process and you accuse them of not being transparent, how exactly do you mean? Because I assume that you have representation on the board, which should have given you the opportunity to get to know these?
No, unfortunately, we don't. And we even hear to our surprise, which we think that MIDA should be able to confirm or otherwise, that even ECG was not represented on the evaluation panel. And a preferred bidder has been selected. We knew at the time when the EDF France company withdrew, they came out and said that it was left with only two bidders. That is BSC Consortium and then the Meralco. As to whether BSC was evaluated and they were found not to be the best in terms of competitive nature of the process, or was BSC disqualified and it was left with only Meralco as the preferred bidder. These are matters that for us as workers, we are a little unclear as to what really is going on, and that is the angle we are talking about, the transparency. So MIDA should clarify these things. We also know that last year, the president announced that, yes, 51% of this new company should be in the hands of Ghanaians.
Yes.
To date, nobody knows who is the Ghanaian partners in consortium with Meralco. As you saw, they only mentioned Meralco Consortium, who are the local Ghanaian partners working with Meralco. The press release also talk about Meralco covering about 1/3 of Philippines in terms of distribution. But then we are getting information. We don't really have all the facts because the media is the one that should be seized with the correct information.
Right.
Is it true that the total network in terms of length of Meralco does not come anywhere near the network length of ECG? So these are things we think that media ought to clarify for the Ghanaian public to know whether we are indeed going in for a company. Yes, it's true. They may have a number of customers because Philippines has so many big cities and their populations may be good. But what is the length of their network? These are critical issues that we think that Ghanaians ought to know so that we don't end up selling our VIP bars a Kiko or something.
Great. Mr. Edumata, thank you so much for your time this evening. Indeed, very cogent questions you're asking there. But Michael Edumata is General Secretary of POL, that's a Public Utilities Workers Union.
Yes, Alfred, but let's now take a look at some other top stories this evening. The Supreme Court has dismissed an application by former Deputy Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayini seeking to file additional arguments to the case in which he is challenging the eligibility of Martin Amidu for the position of Special Prosecutor. The application, according to the judge, Justice Gabriel Puamang, was not supported by the rules of the court. Dr. Ayini stated in his suit that Mr. Amidu, at 66 years of age, is too old to hold public office under which the special prosecutor's position falls. Dr. Ayini is seeking a declaration that by a true and proper interpretation of Articles 190, Section 1D, 199, Section 1, and 199, Section 4, and 295 of the 1992 Constitution, the retirement age of all holders of public office created pursuant to Article 1 is 60 years, however, not beyond 65. Using the same sections of the Constitution, he held that no person above the age of 65 years is eligible for employment in any public office created under Article 190, Section 1. Still live here on News 360. Let's now take a look at our MTN Video reports this evening as citizen journalist Paul reports on the danger posed by an open gutter in front of the Kumasi Labour Office.
My name is Paul Bado. Here is Kumasi Labour Office. And there is a bus stop in front of the Labour Office. And there is a gutter in the middle of the bus stop. The slab on the gutter has been blocked over 5 months ago. So the car cannot park in the bus stop. So they park in the middle of the road to offload passengers and sometimes load passengers. We passengers, we find it difficult to alight here. So we are pleading to the KMA to fix the gutter for us.
You're watching News 360. We've got some business news coming up for you shortly. Stay with us.
And thanks so much for staying with us right here on News 360, Time for Business. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. And to our very first headline story for business tonight, energy think tank Kite Ghana wants the Auditor General to conduct a forensic audit into all projects funded with oil revenue. Now, according to Kite, only 3 out of some 31 projects sampled were fully funded by the annual budgetary funds allocated from oil revenue from 2011 to 2016.
This was revealed at the final workshop on the disbursement of funds for priority projects as required by the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. According to the Kite report, Ghana recorded $3.4 billion over the period under review from oil revenue. $1.47 billion was allocated in the budget to fund projects ranging from schools, hospitals, roads, and rural electrification. Out of the 31 projects sampled as priority projects in 91 districts of the country, only 3 were fully funded by the revenue from oil. Executive Director at Kite Ghana Ishmael Ajakumhene says the Auditor General must urgently audit these projects.
That's why we are calling on the Auditor General to go and visit. This shouldn't be Kite. This should be the people that the law said at every point in time they should be doing that. But at the moment, if we consider the fact that $3.5 billion has come to us, and looking at the things that we have, so we don't have a lot to show for that.
He wants a review of the PRMA to ensure effective monitoring and evaluation of projects funded by oil revenue.
One of the things that we believe should be changed is we need to be a little bit more precise when it comes to how the Ministry of Finance should report back to us as to how the money is, because they disburse the money. The reports at the moment, they just dump a list of projects and put it there. Sometimes they don't even have location. There has to be some changes. There has to be some clear instructions to the people who are supposed to be doing what they are doing.
And talking about new airlines joining the fleet here in Ghana, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority says it has received 2 more applications for the establishment of these new airlines. Now, Ashanti Airlines and Gold Coast Airlines are bidding to commence both domestic and regional operations.
Persistent upgrade at the Kotoka International Airport, coupled with growing interest in air travels and general boost in the aviation industry, has generated a lot of investment interest in the sector. Already, some 5 airlines applicants are undergoing various stages of certification. The Director General of the GCAA, Simon Alote, explained the prospective airlines have begun the certification process.
And you'll comply to our security street screening standards. The same with the regulated agents of these ground handling companies and so on will have to comply to security standards as relates to transportation of dangerous goods and general cargo import and export, to ensure that there's no threat to the civil aviation industry.
The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority has received applications from Ashanti Airlines and Gold Coast Airlines for an air carrier license.
Carrier license, that's the very, very first stage. We go through what we call the economic license or the air carrier licensing. We review the business plan of the prospective airline. We work with them to make sure it's feasible, it's viable, and once that is completed, we obtain national security clearance for the prospective operator. If it's successful, then they are issued with the air carrier license.
The authority says Assam Wajan's airline has already received an air carrier license and now at the 4th stage of the certification.
The stage they at, they're getting towards the final stage. They could actually start recruiting staff, cabin crew, because the recruitment process takes long. So the timing is just right to start the recruitment process whilst they are waiting to complete the certification process.
The other airlines that are hoping to enter Ghana's aviation market include Montrak Air, Gold Star Air, Smile Air, as well as Dak Airlines. They are currently undergoing various stages of certification and expected to open up the domestic air travels.
And the Spanish Trade Mission will visit Ghana in September this year to explore trade prospects as a result of talks held with the Minister of Trade, Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, in Spain, Tuesday, April 19. Now, after a presentation at the Casa Africa International Economic Forum in Spain, Alan Kyerematen started a series of bilateral meetings with senior Spanish government officials and business executives, including the Foreign Affairs Minister and President of Las Palmas region. The meetings were held on the theme Economic Growth in West Africa, Opportunities and Obstacles. And quickly, just before we wrap up for business tonight, let's move to the forex and see how the cedi is faring against its major trading currencies. Well, the cedi has depreciated against the pound as well as the euro, but seeing some appreciation to that of the dollar. This is not too good, even though the cedi has appreciated to the dollar at 4 Ghana cedis 40 pesos and selling at 4 Ghana cedis 40 pesos. Reason being that this reduction or low performance of the dollar is seen on the international markets, where we see China and USA having their own turf war, what you would want to call a trade war. You see goods coming from China having extra taxes on, and same vice versa when it comes to goods from USA to China. So this has caused some decrease there or low performance there for the dollar. That is why we're seeing this 4 Ghana cedis 40 pesos. Now, for the depreciation of the cedi to that of the Great British Pound, it is at 6 Ghana cedis 26 pesos, and same when it's being sold to you at the interbank exchange rate. Well, you have it at the forex for quite a higher figure there. And for the cedi to the euro, it is at 5 Ghana cedis 44 pesos when you're buying it, and it's being sold to you at 5 Ghana cedis 45 pesos. And that will do for business tonight. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Alfred is standing by with more.
Thank you, Nanikia. Now, the director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo, has cast doubts over government's commitment to the election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives as MMDCs. He maintains the current system provides an avenue to reward party loyalists. Saloma Menya has more.
The Constitution Review Commission's report in 2011 clearly indicated that majority of Ghanaians wanted MMDCs elected. CDD's Afrobarometer report this year also indicates that 69% of Ghanaians want to elect their own MMDCs. The New Patriotic Party in its 2016 manifesto promised to ensure that metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives were elected when voted into power. The president in the 2018 State of the Nation address gave clear instructions, adding that it is a step that must be taken, hence a review of Article 55 of the 1992 Constitution. An entrenched clause must therefore be removed. But the director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo, is doubtful government will see to a logical conclusion the election of MMDCs.
I heard the president saying that in 2018, MMDCs will be elected. Now, soon after us, his deputy minister for local government comes out to say that it will not be 2018 but 2019. We are being told that it may be up to 2021 and all that. And that's what makes me doubt whether really this can happen.
He questioned if a referendum can be held only to determine the direct election of MMDCs while abandoning other aspects of the 1992 Constitution which require review through a referendum as recommended by the Constitution Review Committee in 2011.
While the legal issues are yet to be settled, it must be noted that political parties use the current mode of appointing MMDCs as a mechanism to reward party functionaries and supporters, and also as a means of distributing patronage. There is therefore a strong internal opposition by partisan elites to maintain the status quo as a way to consolidate power and influence of the president and to share the spoils of power.
However, local government minister Hajia Alima Mahama backed government's position but was quick to add that the election cannot be held this year.
Definitely, we have to go through the various amendments. And the various amendments, like I've just indicated, to do a referendum, there are processes. Even the referendum process, as I indicated, gazetting alone will have to take 6 months. Even before the gazetting, you have to do pass through the speaker, go through Council of State, and then goes through gazetting and goes back to goes for the referendum and all those processes. That alone can easily take 1 year.
Per the roadmap as presented by the Local Government and Rural Development Ministry, the election of MMDCs will be held in 2021.
board of the Metro Mass Transit Limited will on Monday, April 23, 2018, set up a 5-member committee to probe allegations of fraud that led to the suspension of the company's managing director, Bennett Abwaje. The managing director and some other staff were suspended indefinitely over alleged procurement breaches.
The board of Metro Mass Transit Limited on Wednesday, April 18, suspended the company's managing director and his personal assistant over alleged procurement breaches and corruption. A source at Metro Mass told TV3 News that the managing director and one Dr. Amwakunto, an MPP stalwart, attempted bribing the company's security coordinator, Lawal, with 40,000 Ghana cedis after he confronted them with evidence over financial malpractices. Amwakunto is not an employee of MMT, but the source indicated the MD only sought his advice as a friend over the role of the company security coordinator, Lawal. When the news team visited the company's head office at Kaneshi Thursday morning, the security coordinator was yet to report to work. Full-scale investigation into the allegations will commence after a committee has been composed on Monday. Members of the yet-to-be-established probe committee would be drawn from the police service, a procurement expert, Labour Commission, Metro Mass Board and Ministry of Transport. The Communications Directorate has been urged not to engage the media.
Well, the increase in industrialization in Ghana has led to a larger percentage of the Ghanaian workforce being exposed to lots of physical, chemical, biological and psychological damages. But in Ghana, there's a lot of system monitoring, evaluation and prevention of such hazards. That's the question we're asking, if that system is in place. In this report, Community Agency takes a scan of the workplace to determine if employee safety is ensured.
On Saturday, April 7 this year, 6 contract workers at Newmont Ghana Gold Limited lost their lives following the collapse of a reclaimed tunnel roof at its Ahafo Mill expansion project. In November 2012, 9 people lost their lives through the collapse of a Melcom department store in Accra. These incidents highlight the hazards workers are exposed to in their work environment, while the Factories, Offices and Shops Act 1970 is yet to be implemented satisfactorily. Employees in Ghana are required by the Labour Act 2003, Act 651, to ensure that their employees are not exposed to conditions that will lead to work-related injuries and illness. In the same vein, employees are also expected to deliver their responsibilities, bearing in mind their duty of care. But are Ghanaian employers and employees aware of their safety regulations and responsibilities? The Department of Factory Inspectorate under the Ministry of Labour and Employment is mandated by law to inspect all work environment to ensure that employers adhere to safety regulations. Fred Ohine-Mensah is Chief Factories Inspector.
They know their right, but very often it is fear of dismissal. They find it difficult to, voice out some of these things.
Chairs, desk, emergency exit and fire extinguishers are some of the basic items that inspectors examine at work site.
If it's an office, the sitting facility of a person should be in a way where the worker will not feel pain in any part of the body. Where there should be a footrest, there should be a footrest. It shouldn't be a sitting facility where the feet will be hanging or where the person will have to stretch to be able to, connect to a knob or a handle. Any process that the body will go through that will, bring about pain, that is what we look out for.
The Bureau of Public Safety noted that every company is mandated by law to have a safety policy.
That gives you the direction how the company intends to go, and it also empowers the worker and the employer what their rights are, what their responsibilities are. So if you come to a workplace where they don't have a policy bothering on safety, health, and environment, this organization is not structured. They do not know where they are going regarding this very important discipline. I don't have to come looking for your policy. It must be pasted at vantage points within the organization. In these times, companies are even required to put it on their website. I know of companies who are now printing their workplace policy behind employees' salary pay slips.
Article 24, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution says that every person has the right to work under satisfactory, safe and healthy conditions.
Of course you can sue, but you need to be prudent. If you are suing, are you suing such that you leave the work? You can't sue and remain in that environment. Secondly, if you are suing for damages, in terms of particular injury you may have suffered. Until such damage has been occurred, until such injury has occurred, what are you suing to recover? Perhaps the workers' union in there may want to take it up.
With a workforce of less than 40 inspectors across the country, the Chief Factories Inspector, Fred Ohinemensa, admitted the outfit has not been able to carry out its duties efficiently. The company, according to him, the department is able to inspect about 3,000 out of the over 10,000 companies listed in their books each year.
If we have a full complement of the required staff, I think we can visit, a number of companies at least once every year.
Ghana is yet to pass a national operational health and safety law. TV3, Kwabna Edu Jemfi.
Well, certainly a very troubling issue there that needs to be addressed by various organizations for the safety of its employees. But let's turn to the health sector now, as close to 100 babies are born with anorectal disorder and will require corrective surgery at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra annually. This is as a result of congenital disorder of the rectum and anal region known as anorectal malformation. Mary Grant Amwa has more.
Anorectal malformations are birth defects or problems which happen when an unborn baby is developing during pregnancy. The malformations include a wide spectrum of defects in the development of the lowest portion of the intestinal and urogenital tracts. Health experts say babies born with this defect have an imperfectorate anus since they have no visible opening in the anal region. Statistics from the World Health Organization indicates that anorectal malformations affect 1 in 5,000 babies, and the condition is more common in males. Although medical science has not clearly identified the exact cause of this congenital disorder, experts say environmental factors or exposure to drugs during pregnancy may expose babies to the condition. Babies born with the condition have to undergo corrective surgery to enable the body pass waste safely and also reduce the risk of infections.
We need to separate the urinary system from the anal system and from the vaginal system and bring each one of them separately so each one can have its normal opening. So those ones take a bit longer.
At the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the cost of the surgery ranges between 1,500 and 2,000 Ghana cedis, depending on the severity of the condition.
We do some of the surgeries to do the colostomy. Those who are born and they need opening, some of the surgeries just to open the bowel, and then some of the surgeries are to repair, and some of the surgeries are to close the colostomy.
Head of the Pediatric Surgery Unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. William Apiedu Mensah, implored health professionals to carry out routine inspections of all newborns to detect the condition early. Health experts say survival rates for babies who undergo corrective surgery is 97.1% and encouraged parents whose wards have the condition to seek prompt medical attention.
It's live here on NEWS360. We'll be back shortly with some sports news. Do stay.
Welcome back to News 360. On the international front this evening, Cuba has a new president, and for the first time in 40 years, his last name is not Castro. The international desk profiles Cuba's new president, Miguel Diaz-Canel. Miguel Diaz-Canel officially became president on Thursday morning after Raul Castro stepped down and Diaz-Canel was confirmed by the National Assembly. 96-year-old Castro will remain head of the Communist Party, the most powerful governing body on the island. But his departure from the presidency represents a symbolic shift in an aging leadership. The transition is an effort to guarantee that younger leaders, like 58-year-old Diaz-Canel, who has served as Cuba's first vice president since 2013, can maintain the power of the communist-run government. Before becoming first vice president, Diaz-Canel was the Minister of Higher Education. From 1994 to 2003, he headed the Communist Party in the province of Villa Clara, where he gained prominence. His election comes at a time when Cuba has been suffering from a severe economic crisis after the fall of the Soviet Union, which had heavily subsidized the island. Cuba faces an economic recession that has led to many Cuban workers receiving an average salary of around $30 a month. Additionally, Cubans are feeling frustrated over the slow pace of market-style reforms initiated by Raul Castro in 2011, especially so as relations with the United States have cooled significantly under the Trump administration. Due to a legal limit established by Raul Castro, Diaz-Canel can only govern a maximum of 10 years, equal to 2 terms.
Well, to Nigeria, the maize stolen from Nigeria's parliament has been recovered. Now, under a flyover in the capital Abuja, police say several intruders rushed into the Senate, the upper chamber of the National Assembly, and grabbed the ceremonial staff during a session yesterday. Now, the Senate spokesperson accused suspended Senator Ovie Omo Agege of leading the armed hoodlums, saying they had committed treason. He has since been arrested. The police say they set up roadblocks and launched stop and search operations in the wake of the theft. In a statement, the police said the mace was eventually found under a flyover where a patriotic passerby saw it and alerted officers. The police chief has ordered security is to be beefed up at the parliament as a consequence. Interesting things
under a flyover
in Nigeria.
is quite a careless.
Absolutely. We'll be back with entertainment news to stay.
All right, so it's now time for some entertainment and lifestyle news with me, Nana Kwadwado, brought to you by Vodafone, power to you, and FanMax, fuel your day. Now, today is a Thursday, so we want to throw you back. She was tagged no nonsense, a troublemaker, and a wild actress due to her outstanding acting skills. But is the 81-year-old actress confrontational as projected in movies? Now, in a special throwback, firebrand actress Grace Norte, a.k.a. Mami Jata Beams, talks about her days in acting.
Mona, you mean you are going to sit in that kind of situation? Nothing doing. I hate rivalry, and you must hate it too. You've got to take immediate steps to establish your position.
Ma, that woman is strong.
Try other means.
With a career spanning over 4 decades, Grace Nakwali Norte is one of Ghana's few distinguished actresses. The veteran actress became a household name in the 80s and 90s due to her exceptional acting skills. She carved a niche for herself, playing the role of a wicked mother-in-law.
I don't drink polluted water. You can poison me. I don't drink your water. Leave Sammy alone, or you'll see what will happen to you. When you see me playing the role of a bad mother-in-law, and you are really a bad mother-in-law, look at me, and then you look at yourself, whether you have to change or continue being a bad mother-in-law. That's one thing with me.
At the peak of her outstanding career, Grace earned names like Mami Magani and Mami Jata as perception that she was rude and no-nonsense grew. In real life, Grace Norte is the exact opposite of how she has been portrayed in movies.
When you are playing a role, you put yourself into the character and you play the role very well. But then, people think I'm wild. I'm not like that. I heard there was a house near our house. Anytime something happens, like I Grace Norte here, Grace Norte here, but I'm not like that.
You said you were a very quiet person.
Yes, by nature. I like singing, dancing. I like to advise people, and then I enjoy reading, listening to the radio and all that. But to quarrel, it's not my line.
The veteran actress recognizes that in order to excel in all fields of endeavor, perseverance is key.
Whenever I got a script, I know this script I've gotten to take me somewhere. I got very interested. I put myself into the character and played the role as if it's a real thing.
Her best acting partners were Fred Amugi and ever-humorous Mark Jordan Amate, a.k.a. Sugar Daddy. You may have seen Grace Norte play the role of her wife, but there is one thing the celebrated actress never did: accepting scripts that required that she lies on a bed with a man.
And I have a husband in the house. So before I take a script and I accept a script to play somebody's wife, I tell him about it. So I don't accept scripts which I have to lie down with a man. I can do everything. But to go and lie down with a man, most of the time, people outside think when you are lying down with a man, it means you can do anything in the room.
Leave Sammy alone, or you see what will happen to you.
So don't you love Grace Norte for that? But the management of the late Ebony Rains, Roughtown Records, announced on the day of VGMA night, or on the night of VGMA, of Wendy Shea. Now, the move has got tongues wagging, with critics saying Bullet was too quick to announce her artist under management, or the artist replacement. Now, the father of Ebony Rains, Nana Poku Kwarteng, says he's completely in agreement with the announcement.
On the night of the VDM, we also saw yourself and Bullet walk upstage to receive one of the awards, and we saw Wendy Shea being introduced. You felt that announcement was too early. Why?
That is unfortunate. If you've read that, it's never the case. I haven't said it anywhere. I haven't said that. I haven't even thought of saying this, let alone saying that. So that impression out there should not be entertained. The bottom line was taking awards. Bullet is a big guy. He could choose what he want to do. That is him. And I think he knows his left from right. So obviously, he took good decision to say it to Ghana. It's you to decide whether it was too good or not too good. But for me, I think he's made a point. That was what he thought of doing, and he did it perfectly. I believe in that.
You have not said anywhere that it was too quick a decision.
Why would I say that? No, I wouldn't do. I never did. The reasons for the night was me sweeping awards in the name of the Queen and the management. My dream just came through. So I never turned back to listen, to hear, or whatever. I was okay with it.
So that was Nana Poku Kwarteng, Ebony's dad, speaking to that issue. And that's how we wrap up entertainment news tonight with me, Nana Kwadwado, brought to you by Vodafone, Power to you, and FanMax. Fuel your day. Alfred and Natalie.
On behalf of the team, we're grateful. My name is Alfred Akonse.
I'm Natalie Ford. Visit our website. It's 3news.com for some more news. Thanks so much for watching, and have a lovely evening.